Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie, and I am a channeler and a seer. My soul comes straight from Pleiades, and I was found by an elder who told me that. Plus, I'd had interactions with UFOs and so forth when I was only 11 years old, and Pleiadians visited me. And there's a whole heap of stories on my channel if you want to go see them. I have had a very, very unusual life, like teetering on the edge of this reality and the next. And it's given me these unusual perspectives. So along with the channeling that happens, that started mainly when I was about 50 years old. Up till I was 50, I was a seer. I could see things like outside of me. Literally, some of them faded and some of them felt real, like as if someone was sitting right next to me and I could touch them and everything. It was just so real. And that happened for the first 50 years of my life, and now I'm 57. I've been in training for a few years to be a channeler, and now this is what I do. So I always follow the guidance of my soul more than I do this physical world, and it's taken me into all sorts of different places because of it. I'm going to bring up something that had happened to me because of it. I'm going to bring up something that had happened to me in the early 2000s because it's been brought up in my reality just recently. Hey, Debbie and Yannicka in the chat bar, good to see you. So recently I went to a Pink Floyd kind of a 3D IMAX experience, and there was one of their songs, very chaotic, crazy, disjointed, and Ian and I, females, did not like it, but the guys didn't mind it, and that was really interesting. And then I, this morning, got the same sort of message come across with a similar song, and I'm like, hang on, there's something here, there's a message here. Then they brought me back to in the early 2000s. So I was going through chaos in the early 2000s, and I had to get through a lot of my own mind crap. Things that were going on in my head were projected outwards through my relationships and so forth. That's literally how that happens. I was getting a lot of messages coming through from spirit. So I was navigating the spiritual world, not very, still had to navigate a lot in the masculine and the physical world as well as the spiritual world. But yeah, there was chaos to come, let's put it that way. But they wanted me to get the spiritual essence. So what happens is I woke up and I saw all these rocks coming at me. And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, come on, give me a bone here. I don't know what you're trying to show me. So literally I wake up, see these rocks, and I'm like, and that night that I asked about what does it even mean, my husband at the time, my ex-husband, started to sleep talk and he just rolled over. He was still asleep, and it was like their voice come through him. And he said, I actually wrote it down. He said, see the path. We're holding up the rock so you can see the path. And I'm like, okay, what does this even mean? And I'm starting to understand even more about this message now. So they held up all of the blockages that I had in my reality so that I could see the spiritual path. So then I can be in line with understanding a more conscious state of awareness, but I still needed to ground who I was into this world. And this is what's happening now, like literally 20 years later. Now they showed me a different message. So they were showing me that the rocks are going to fall onto the ground now, back onto my path. But instead of seeing them as blockages, I see them as boundaries, as that doesn't feel good for me in my path, and so I will not go there anymore. I don't try to break them on my path. I just move around them. I move my path around them. And because of that, now I see where the path is taking me. It's like the path is lit up by the boundaries. and that's the physical world where the so-called blockages are. They need, instead of being blockages where you either avoid them or you want to smash them, you accept them. And then you go, they're actually showing me my path more. So now I get it. Whenever someone comes up to me and gives me that feeling, I'm like, okay, well, that's not my path. And so I'm using them as my boundaries, and it's showing up my original authentic path. Now, everybody's authentic path is completely different to everyone else's. So your path will have all different turns, twists and turns in it compared to others. And then they went even deeper. So then they said, Spirit's message is changed to embrace that which feels like chaos or your rocks so you can walk the path. The more I accepted that which is chaos, it switches it into limitations in this physical world placed there so that I can use them to see the path that is lit up for me, my authentic path. Now, for most humans or most of humanity, they turned it into the music that I was talking about before, because I heard this music that was chaotic, that these two, the males could handle, but the females couldn't handle. And they said, for most of humanity, it would be like a band where the drums and the bass are making sense. So the physical world was making sense to them, but I'm an empath, so I was the other way around. So I'll just tell you, for the majority of humans who think more logically based, and if they had a band in front of them, the drums and the bass are going, yep, that's all in sync. But then the harmony, the guitar, the piano, the soul, that's playing over that show, it would be all chaotic. And so they're not feeling into the harmony of the music, the imagination, the spurring into something else. And then they said that would be called matter over mind, or the physical world coming first, and then thoughts and feelings don't really matter. If you're an empath on the other side, completely switch that around. If you're an empath, you're a star child. You're someone who's come from the stars and you know how to navigate, your soul. You're very connected to your soul, but you're not very good with the physical world. You'd be like me. So then they said you're more likely to feel the piano and the guitar are in harmony, the soul, but the bass and the drums are playing all over the show. And then they called that would be mind over matter, where our thoughts are being worked on and our feelings, but the physical world doesn't matter to us much. It doesn't resonate to us much. And then they said, now what we're doing is we are learning to combine all of that. And so the ones that are empaths are going to have to do the work on the physical, which is like grounding those rocks and that unstableness, and then seeing it for, accepting it for what it really is. It's my limitations in this physical world that are showing me up my path that I'm to walk on, that's going to feel really, really good, because that's the path where there is no blockages. It's just me being me, uniquely me, in whatever way that is. But they said once we are playing this game, the same song, like everything's playing really well together. So the music's harmonizing, the bass, the drums, the guitar, the vocals, and piano, whatever. Then sorry, I'll just read it. Once they are all playing the same song, the rocks show up as great boundaries in this physical world, so you can see your own unique, authentic path light up ahead of you. Therefore, mind and matter are working as one. So that was one of the powerful messages that is coming through. We are learning, depending on what way you're coming from, whether you're more logical based, which is the majority of humanity is being taught to be more logical based, or whether you're more soul based, then you need to be able to align yourself to your inner world, to your outer world. And the path is shown by day to day, everything that you move through. If you are feeling excited, happy, adventurous, even peaceful, calm, just, just no graspiness and all of that sort of stuff, then you're more likely to be following the right path. But as soon as something distorted comes in, they're saying, don't see it, go into it and ask for what the boundary is that it's showing you. What is that boundary that it's showing you? Why do I feel disjointed there? It will either show up as a boundary that you can use in this world for, that's my limit of my soul in this world, in this physical world, to work with, or it will show up as they're showing me like gifts inside of it. And because you've accepted it, it's almost like you sit on it and then it breaks into, oh, this is actually a gift that was given to me that I wasn't accepting within myself. And so you now have a gift. So that's interesting too. That's a new bit that they've just shown me there. They keep showing me like a path. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with me of this, because I do tend to think of things completely different to everybody else. And my team has this really unusual way of bringing things through that's not really logically based. But I think that sharing this with you guys, you might get a sense of, oh, I remember blah, blah. And that makes sense for me now. To at least improve your life, ground your soul, that sort of thing. It just might help. Anyway, that was really interesting. I'm not going to touch on this, but I did get a really, really, really powerful message. Why are we afraid to die? And I actually wrote this whole big lineup of why on my website. So if you want to go look on my website, there's a new message there. If you want to go click on that, you just have to sign up to my website to be, it's all free to go and look at those messages. I've got literally hundreds of them. Anyways, I'll just see if there's anything else coming through about this while we're here, and the path that we're to take and how we see it differently. It really is perception of the path, and how you adjust to that perception of your path, where you're no longer afraid of the boundaries or that doesn't feel right for you. You just accept it as that's just not meant to feel right for you. They show me an example now of an autistic person who will have very big boundaries in this physical world. So then they can't go past these boundaries until they start to accept them as part of themselves as well. Now they're bringing me to somebody who was showing me on a message. It was somebody else's message that they would put their hand out to, say, a bush, and they would imagine a circle around their hand, an energetic circle, and then they would imagine that circle and as the background as well. So the bush was the background, and then wherever they moved their hand, the bush would move this similar as well. And I tried it outside and it was working. Like as I was tapping like this, so too was the leaf started to tap. And then when I held my hand like this, it stopped. So we are merging our background into as our soul. We're recognizing our soul reaches all outside of us, and it becomes one huge, beautiful playground of inner emotions and feelings coming out to play in our reality. And there is no lack within that aspect when you see the physical world as just as much energy to play with as your feeling-based world. The limitations are kind of it's kind of like the only limit would be something that feels uncomfortable, but the limitations of that, knowing that is a boundary of you, will actually open you up to many more gifts. So then you're not afraid to sit on those rocks that have the little gifts inside them. That's what they're showing me. So where you go, oh, I'll just use this rock, even though as a resting place. I need to rest at this moment because I'm facing off with something that's shifting me, in the rock in my way is showing me a new path to go around it, or to sit on it and just rest and just sit here for a minute, go into hermit stage, and then it literally breaks and shows you a gift, because you're not avoiding it, and you're not resisting it, and you're just accepting it as part of you, who you are, and the authentic path that you're creating. It's really interesting how they're showing this to me. But I think it's going to help with those that are going into this new kind of new world that we're creating, where there's way more acceptance of everything. And when you accept something, you can change it, or you can move through it really easy. You don't see it as something going against you anymore. There's no fear around it. It's just, well, that's part of me as well. Yeah. And it will expand your gifts to a lot more. So your physical world becomes your inner world, and you start to pulse. They're showing me like a pulse out of how you're feeling. It will never stay like a straight line or anything. There's always a pulse. That's energy moving out, and then giving like it needs respite as well. It can't just go in a straight line forever. It has to. That's why everything is a pulse. The whole of life is a pulse, and it's free energy when it's a pulse as well. For some reason they're bringing up the way that DC and AC or something, but I don't know enough about electricity, and they're showing me one way was like a pulse that was free energy, and the other way was just direct. But I don't know anything about that sort of thing. This is just what they're showing me. Really failed school terribly. Yeah, so it's like everything is this, if you move through life like a pulse, you can start to move with the harmony of your natural being, your authentic self, and the world that you're creating is always being created around you from within you, and you are it, and it is you. Every single thing that is outside of you is held within the program of yourself. And then they're showing me when you walk into a town, if there's enough people that know of the same thing that happens every like a clock that chimes in this town center, then that consciousness, because they're showing me an expansion. You have your space of what you're creating, but you're moving through many other people's spaces of what they're creating. So when there's a collective that agrees to, yes, the clock always chimes at such and such day, then that's what happens. It's really interesting how they're pulling this through. It's like you step into their reality, but it's only in the background, because the foreground is always from your own perspective. Mainly, you are the walking, talking creator of your reality, and everything physical in it as well. And it's an acceptance of it. It's just, it's really bizarre. I don't know if you guys will be getting this, because it's pretty out there, but I just felt like I needed to come online and explain a little bit of what's going on with me. Anyway, I, at this moment, as an empath, and if you're an empath, it might be in line with you, am learning to ground my soul more into my physical life, into my physical. And when my soul is already seen as magnificent, then my logic has to catch up to that magnificence and see that as myself as well, and the creator, that I can change things just by knowing my path, not knowing or seeing the path that the authentic path that my soul really wants to take. So at the beginning of this message, it was saying how our souls aren't resonating with our path. Many people on this reality, their souls do not resonate with this path. And that's why there's this disjointedness. But when you start to find the path in a physical way that resonates with your soul, you will create really, really cool things. And it would be like stepping into an adventure after adventure, and magic, and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. There will be no limitation on where that goes, because the soul knows what's best for you. So the path that you start to create can become quite unusual, but it's unusual as in makes you happy, makes you feel a delight, and it doesn't even matter to anybody else. And then there's no judgment or anything. It is what it is. It's when it's disjointed, when you're thinking one thing and feeling another, when your outside reality is showing one thing and you're not resonating with it, but you keep on pushing through it. And you're just like, I have to keep going down. I have to keep going to that job. I have to keep living with these people. I have to keep on. You just sit in it, but it doesn't resonate with you or your soul. Yeah, so there's all these really weird messages coming through about our soul grounding on this world and what actually happens at the moment. Anyways, just needed to bring all that up. Yeah, and I also just recently put up another video, and that was to do with the Lemuria codes of our past with Göbekli Tepe and stuff. I did another video on that. I have done videos on channel messages on that in the past. They're bringing up a lot of different stuff at the moment with me, so I hope that you guys keep up, because it's kind of a little bit, but it's almost like because I'm learning to ground my soul, and so I'm seeing my path, and my path is opening up to all these different things. So when something comes in, I'm 100% with it, and it feels delightful for me. So I'm just bringing it out for you guys, but it might be a bit not as grounded as probably it could be in the future. So I think the more I do this, the more I'll ground it, and the more it makes more, be in alignment with a sense more, I suppose, logical path. Yeah. Anyway, I think I might leave it there. It's quite quite out there. I think I might leave it there. Yeah. But there is something in a value in that. I do know there's something of value in that might resonate with someone out there anyway. And just help you align with a better story for yourself, and not be so afraid of grounding more of your soul and your ideas into this world that might be way out there, and how that's going to work. Yeah. Hey Diana, hey Nicole, good to see you. Nicole, when you're talking about the rocks, I felt into that, and for me it was using them for stepping stones. Yeah, right. Very cool. Yeah, I always see them as like rocks that are lining, and then a path, and then the path is glowing in the middle of it, and it does all these twists and turns around the rocks, and then every now and then I rest and I sit on one. Then I use it for my support. It's like the physical world is there for my support, instead of in the past where I would have gone, oh my God, there's another rock, holy crap, and do a little chaotic dance, and how am I going to get around this, and how do I deal with this, and oh my God, there's a problem outside for me, how do I deal with it? Instead, it's like, oh, there's a problem, oh, okay, well, this is a space where I just need to sit for a bit, get my bearings. Okay, that's interesting, it's showing me a different path around it, that sort of thing. That's how I'm seeing it in my head at the moment. And when they were lifting the rocks, and they told me through my husband at the time that was sleep talking, and they said, we are lifting or raising the rocks so you can see the path, is because I wasn't a very grounded person, so there was rocks started everywhere, and I was getting bamboozled by all the problems in the physical world. But they wanted me to understand the etherical world, my soul more, get even closer to my soul. So they literally lifted these rocks, all the problems, out of my reality enough for me to see this path while I was going through, because I was getting a lot of visions then, a lot. And that was when I was taken to the future Earth and all that sort of thing. They were showing me things that were pretty out there, our potential, humanity's potential and all of that. But then now they're like, well, eventually the rocks have to come back down because they are literally part of your reality, and it's you've already known how to do the shadow work. You know how to get through this now. We like drop them down one at a time through your path as you come along. We allowed that to happen so you could figure out one step at a time how to break through the issues of yourself, the blocks that you had. And now they're like, okay, now we can rest all of them down, because when they're rested down, they're going to show you, they're going to light up the path, the authentic path that you are supposed to go on, because then I'll move around them to find my happiness as I go through my life. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Anyways, guys, I think I'll leave it there. And yeah, it's just a bit of a short message at the moment. I'm just doing these quicker messages at the moment. I will do another longer live on, well, here in New York, it's Monday at 5 o'clock, and Australia at 7 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday. In New Zealand, it's 10 a.m. in the morning. I know all these times now because I've been to all the different places. And I probably will, I might do a tarot reading for you guys as well, and open up the chat bar for tarot readings, so look out for that one when I do that. But I'm having a lot of fun here at the moment. Everyone that's coming for readings, I don't know if you can see, there's flowers dotted everywhere because everyone keeps on giving me bunches of flowers when they come here. Literally surrounded by soul tribes. It's just the most beautiful people around here. I am so freaking lucky now. I just feel so different. Yeah, everyone that's surrounding me compared to in the past, where there wasn't a lot of support at all for me. But that was because I had to find it within myself, right? And now it's reflected outwards, and that's the work. So until next time, guys, bye.